world is not everyone is looking at you. Why? Understand the dynamics again. The mind makes you to be in the center always. So you are the center. So for every single person, you are the center. So don't even think that others are looking at you. They're just looking at their own selves. Okay? So that's something we all have to remember. So that way, if you understand this, you won't have tension. Or you won't, be too conscious. You'll be relaxed. Okay, let's go to the next one. Uncontrolled mind. So we just said the mind, the input is senses, and it keeps, having a lot of thoughts and samskara, the impressions. But what happens is, if you happen to have bad impressions, bad sangam, bad habits, and if you have done some bad activities due to influence or you have done yourself, you know what? Who is the biggest judge? You yourself is the biggest judge. Now what happens? Guilt will kill us. If you do more and more bad activities, more and more bad influence, if you scream at others, if you just, hurt others, abuse others, who is going to suffer? Ultimately it's us, because our guilt will kill. See what an amazing design, right? So there is nothing like, nobody need to come and correct you, right? It's just your guilt. But what happens is, when you start dwelling on your sad thoughts, your mind will get into an unstable state. So at least from our side, see, there are many things which are beyond our control. The things that are happening around, right? It's beyond our control. But whatever is within our control, at least we should give a good try. At least be selfish when it comes in about your own mind, right? If your mind suffers due to some thoughts, at least think, I am the one who is suffering because of this. Let me see what I can do to relieve myself. If you just dwell on the thoughts constantly, who is suffering? Trust me, others won't suffer for you. You are the one who suffered. So better, you are the one who have to come out of it, because it's not something physical. If something gets hurt in your hand, I can put some ointment, or we can do some massage. What can people do on your mind? Even doctors cannot do anything, right? They are trying to do the research to their best, but it's impossible to understand the dynamics of mind. We don't have good amount of medication on psychiatry side. Right? Some of the known friends who had some issues, they have been reporting, right? That doctors are just doing trial and error. They don't have real medicine. So better we be watchful from our own side, but prayers is what is going to, keep us go in the right direction. So if you see, just look at this. If you have an uncontrolled mind, constantly munching on negative thoughts, you will be constantly thinking. But be watchful. The more you think of that, you will lose your balance. You will lose your mental balance. The moment you lose your mental balance, you get into a state of madness. And imagine, if your mind is in a very bad state, trust me, your physical body, your body will also get affected. Right? So that's why those who have the manobalam, no matter whether they have physical disabilities, we have seen. I saw a wonderful video where a person doesn't have 2 hands, 2 legs, no limbs at all. But you know what? He is lecturing all over the world, and he is a Christian preacher. Many might have seen. I was so impressed. When he saw that, I was just thinking, what a manobalam he has. He could have easily got demotivated. But imagine, without any limbs, his parents are the key. So his parents encouraged him. Said, you have the inner strength. You are a special gift of God. Imagine how nicely their parents presented. They said, you are a gift of God. It's not just a presentation, right? It's a fact. That kid, the parents constantly gave encouragement, and they made some special arrangements for that kid to grow, even though the kid did not have limbs, no hands, no legs. Now he is a world preacher, world famous preacher. So what helped him to grow like that? Strong mind, manobalam. So we have to constantly think, what can I do to, improve my manobalam? We all have to think that. If we don't, then we are going to have all this damage to oneself relationship. Just imagine, if you're too conscious about yourself, the ego sprouts in. When ego sprouts in, relationship breaks. And relationship breaks, who is going to suffer? It's we who are going to suffer. We may be separated, we may be in two different places. No matter how distant we are the one who is going to suffer. So this, at least, be selfish when it comes to you. Think, I have to be happy. If something, say, imagine, let's take the relationship example, right? So you fought with somebody and you are really feeling hurt, and you both are separated, you don't talk to each other, and you both are feeling hurt, right? And then you're just sitting at home and maybe even crying. Imagine one person comes and says sorry. The problem is solved. At least, the communication will start happening. That's what needs to happen. So we have to, what are we doing here? We are trying to help ourselves. It's not that we are being generous. We're just being nice to our own self. That's the point. So we have to try to avoid getting to this state with our own best of the ability. Okay? Looks like she understood something here. Okay, next. So you won't fight, right? Good. Next one. Enemies of the mind. So, in philosophically, when you hear Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Master, it will look like more philosophical. But the fact is, if you see, intense hankering, in general it is called Kama, right? So the intense hankering desire will lead to mental stress. The reason is, see, putting effort, having good goals, no issues. But when you constantly keep trying on and on, if you fail, what we have to do is, we have to start thinking, maybe this is not for us. We have to think ourselves. We have to gauge ourselves, our capacity. If we cannot do it, it's okay. We might have something, special, right? So don't just keep pursuing and then keep hankering, and it leads to mental stress. Who is suffering? Again, we are the one who is suffering. So we have to gauge ourselves, gauge our capacities. If we don't get it, even after many tries, just leave it for our own sake. Anger. If you are too... See, imagine, again, these enemies, the reason why we say enemies of mind is, all these intense hankering, anger, greed, illusion, envy, comparison, ego, they all will destabilize our mind. Every single one item you see here, when I say destable, it cannot, it will not allow you to think rationally. You will just start reacting to it, right? So if you might have seen, when you get angry, right, your hands and legs, start shivering, and you go out of control. You start speaking, bad words, or you start abusing others, and at one point, beyond control, you go and start hitting people, right? See, imagine, so the mind is nowhere in control. So it's totally went to unstable condition, right? Likewise, greed. You accumulate, money and assets, but if you keep accumulating more and more, you get into an anxiety, and there is no end to it. So, these are things, and that's why, just think of politicians. What do? They have accumulated millions, till they want to accumulate. Right? So, that's how the mind acts. So, we should try to, put a limit. That is why our Shastras recommend dana. If you just keep accumulating, if you don't give, then that will lead to corruption. When you do dana, it becomes a dharmic activity. So our mind starts thinking in a dharmic way. When you think in dharmic way, no way we will, go into some adharmic activity. So that's why, Shastras are very important. Why we have to follow, right? And then envy, comparison. Comparison is again biggest danger. So if you see, the biggest cause of anxiety. So recently, one of my friend called me. Okay, he said, "Hey, I got a very good bonus this year. I got $20,000 bonus." He was so happy, very happy. And then he was giving party and all. And then next day he went to the office. The next neighbor, right? He said, "I got $25,000, and he just joined a year before. Trust me, all his happiness gone." So imagine, last year he didn't even get a bonus. This year he got a bonus, that to $20,000. The moment he did a comparison with the other person, all happiness gone. So you should also see here, what is really experiencing that happiness? The mind. The mind did a comparison. The moment it did a comparison, it went to a sad state. So stop comparing. Never compare. And then the ego. Ego, as we discussed, ego is going to kill the relationship and it will never allow you to accept mistakes. Sometimes I try to practice, obviously I will also fail, but I keep trying to my best, right? We have to act against our mind. If our mind says, don't do it, what is this? This person is a big guy or what? Say, if it's like, seeing somebody low, you go and intentionally go and talk to them. You go and intentionally pay respects to them. That's how we can subdue our mind. We have to, keep our mind in control, rather than the mind should not control us. So that's something we have to practice. We will fail. Nothing wrong. Let's keep trying. Right? That's how we can treat our ego. Whenever, what did I say? Whenever, if the other person, say if you have a bad relationship, you go and give respect to the person. You go and talk to them and kill your ego that way. Okay? Did you all get that? Good. Very good. Go to the next. Okay. See, this is a very beautiful kirtan. I really love it. See, the first time when I heard, I was really wondering. See, we read so much of theory about mind. Guruji condensed everything into one song. Let's sing that, right? Maname ni yadivai, maname ni yadivai, maname ni yadivai, maname ni yadivai, நான் என்று ஆடிடும் பேயே, நான் என்ற இடத்தை கண்டிலை நீயே. Just see, நான் என்று ஆடிடும் பேயே. It's constantly the mind makes you feel I am the center. If you go to a place, is people looking at me? Is people greeting at me? When I sit, am I sitting in a nice pose? Am I looking beautiful? Is people seeing it constantly I? It's a big suffering, right? So நான் என்று ஆடினும் பேயே. When I read it, I got scared. Imagine the state of mind, right? நான் என்ற இடத்தை கண்டிலே நீயே. This is a class of the line I would say. See, it constantly says நான், I. But the funny part is, it doesn't know the real I, which is Atma. What a beautiful verse, right? And then ஈசனை மறைத்திடும் நீச்சனும் நீயே. See, Guruji is all compassionate, right? Even people who went and abused him, scolded him, say, hey, you guys, in the initial period when the ashram was started, there was a drunkard who came right in front of Guruji, started shouting, and then Guruji was so patiently hearing him, and then later he became a devotee. The point is, anybody who even abuses him, he doesn't mind, he gives kripa. But here he is accusing one person or one entity, which is mind. See the kind of accusations you will see. So that's how dangerous is mind. ஈசனை மறைத்திடும் நீச்சனும் நீயே. Right? See, because the mind constantly puts you in the center, it hides. Bhagavan is not in the center. So ஈசனை மறைத்திடும், even Bhagavana kuda மறைச்சிட்டு, the I is standing. I is the one that we are talking here is ego. And then மோசம் செய்திடும் வாசனா பலமே. The previous experiences that we had constantly stores our samskara and vasanas, right? For many janmas, whatever we experience, they all sit as vasanas. The problem with vasanas is if you have good vasanas, naturally you will, feel inclined in doing good sattvic activities. If you don't have good vasanas, it's very unfortunate. No matter where you are, constantly it will pull you away. You start to satsang, on the way you see a theater, you just straight go inside the theater. Right? That's how it is. Because, the senses are pulling you. It's not that you are, controlling. Your senses control you. Right? It is drunkards. You might have heard, right? So even they go near a shop, wine shop, they just go inside. Right? Every single day. So your sense drag you, right? So Mosam Seidum, why? Because of the experiences they had, it has strong impressions that pulls you constantly to do that activity. You are just like a robot, just reacting to your senses. Right? Adakka ninaital odi olindiduvan. This is where the people who do sadhana comes into picture. Right? Somehow by Lord's grace we get a satsangam. Somehow we get that sincerity to do the sadhana. See, imagine not everyone who comes to satsanga, they are serious and do sadhana, right? That's fine, nothing wrong in it. But all I'm saying is, even the person who is serious, they just sit and do nama. What do you do? Like Guruji says, Namatte ennade ennu. So the moment you start thinking, that's when your mind becomes like a big demon. It just wants to go everywhere. Just give a try. Every single day, give a try. I have tried enough and I gave up. That's a different thing. And I thought like Guruji Kainkaryam is, more higher than me controlling my mind. Because this, if you see subtly, this is keeping my mind intact than me sitting in a place and doing dhyana. Right? You somehow, you go to Hanuman Koil, whether I like it or not, I have to chant Nama in Hanuman Mandir. It's been going on for the past 6 years. Imagine how nicely Guruji has put us. That's the beauty of Kainkaryam. Kainkaryam is always at the top. So, Adakka Ninaital Odi Odindiduvan. The moment you try to control your mind, the mind will go and hide and it won't allow you to get controlled. And say, this you can see, anybody who did Nama in a very sincere manner, right? You just focus on the Nama, chant every single word very attentively, it will just go into, your mind will go into a stable state. The moment you go to a stable state, you feel happiness, you feel peace. Wow, how wonderful it is. The moment you get to that state, you go into a relaxed mode. You go to a relaxed mode, suddenly you will realize you are not even chanting Nama. Seriously, you will be wondering, oh my God, I just closed my eyes, I was chanting, and you will just realize, oh my God, I am not even chanting. Why? Satre ayarndal ஆட்டம் போட்டிடுவாய். The moment you become slightly relaxed, it just takes you, sways you away. It will even make you think of satsang. It will think, oh, how nicely that Bhagavata sang that day. How nicely that Madhura Geetam, it sounded so beautiful. You will be thinking it's all sattvic thoughts. But the mind, that's how it does it. It slowly gives you some favorable thoughts, and then you will sway away. And then at one point you will be thinking of, oh my God, I have to earn a lot to buy an asset. That's where you will end up. That's what the mind does. மூன்று குணங்களின் மூல காரணமே, right? Sattvam, Rajas, Tamas, mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. The main very reason is mind. Because what happens is, if you see, so pure, another one of most favorite topic of mine is 3 modes. I really fathom the way it works on me, right? Because you will be thinking, oh my God, how nicely, I'm involved in satsang. You'll be thinking like that, but your mind may be somewhere, even though you are in a satsang. That's because your modes, if you are in sattva gunam, your mind will constantly dwell on good activities, sattvic activities. If you are in rajogunam, your mind will take you to, it's passionate. You want to earn money, just passion, look for passion, run towards passionate activities, right? If you are in tamogunam, you just want to be lazy, just sleep, doing nothing, right? You just want to do nothing. That's what is tamogunam. If you see, we all have that. The only thing is the proportion is what will be different between each and every one of us. The idea is the satsangam should ideally bring our sattva guna higher and higher. For that, we have to engage our mind in satsang activities. No matter how many years we sit here, but the thing is, we will continuously accumulate punya sukritam, undoubtedly. But if you want quicker results, to see the change on the mind level, you definitely have to engage your mind on the satsang activities. Right? மூன்று குணங்களின் மூல காரணமே இன்றே அழிவாய் சபித்தேன் உன்னையே. Can you ever hear such a words from Guruji? So imagine, that's how dangerous it is. Some people will say, let's engage our mind as bhakti. Mind cannot be really engaged like that. It should go away, because the mind, it's very scientific, right? Mind is conditioned by 3 modes. All the 3 modes are material modes. They are not spiritual. No matter, even if it is in sattvam, it is still a material mode. So we cannot really say, but the thing is, if you